Let's do some commentary on some gameplay with the Duelist Genesys on ranked. And my hand's pretty good. I didn't open up Knight, but we have access to our level 8 through our Walker because it's going to give us our Synchro level 8, Diabolantis. But he hits us with Song of the Dominators. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. You don't really expect that many hand traps. When they do pop up, it's like, right, I forgot those exist. I'm forced to just pivot and go into Summon Dandy. And then I'm going to go for SD. So now I'll get to a point where I can get something out of this draw. Because I need to get to a formula. Revive the Plague. Diabolantis will turn the token into a tuner, which is great. And then I'm hoping for a good draw here. I draw into map, which is not that great. Then I go for changing and I set the book and pass. So I have a satellite play. That's about it. I'm not sure what I'm playing against. And then once he activates this, I'm like, oh, I'm going up against True Draco. I'm not too sure how good this is in this format, but there it is. He tributes, he forces my back row. I decide whether I want to chain it or not. I could have possibly chained, but maybe I should have. But just in case he was able to crack my board, I still have map to pair with the potential night draw, or just I wanted to make sure I just didn't waste it. I don't think it was worth it. So then I chain. He chains the Ignis, adding a True Draco spell, and I go for Stardust, and then I go for Starlight Warrior, popping it, and then he activates True Draco Heritage. This will let him draw 2 cards because 2 True Draco cards left the field. Draws 2, and I'm like, well, with nothing now, right? So now it's a matter of what can he do. He summons his Dynamite and a second Dynamite. I'm like, fair enough. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This card is wild. Once per we drew the Knight. This is you have to like try to anticipate your deck in a way where okay, well, what can I use this for? And that was a perfect example. So what does this even do? Mirage of the Nightmare. Once per turn during your opponent's damage phase, draw until you have 4 cards in your hand. I remember now. This card was insane. He's just gonna draw 4. It's good in this deck because you just draw your True Dracos and then just tribute. I'm assuming, but this is not any of the traps that allow him to tribute during my turn though. That's kind of weird. So he draws 4. I'm like, I'll just go battle phase. There's no reason to try to. And he goes into Crackdown, and I'm like, well. I start to get a little scared here because I'm like, well, he's just gonna snowball. So I have to discard 4 random cards, and I just stays there, and it keeps happening. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And this card's crazy. 2 plus level 6 monsters. If you use a monster with a level that is owned by your opponent, for the so this treated at level 6. So even though this guy's level 10, it's treated as a level 6, which is like, what the hell? So he's gonna be able to send this guy and then reborn it, which is kind of scary because I'm like, okay, well, it's not game. And just as I predicted, oh, well, I mean, it's not good that I drew this, but it's good that I have Plague Engrave because now I can top deck the Level Eater and then dump it off Knight. But that's why I chose not to use the book because it seemed unnecessary, right? I wanted to be, in case I was put in this situation, I was able to do something and we got rewarded for our technical play. So this is getting this map. We have our life points. Summon, Plague, top deck the Level Eater, dump the Level Eater, and then just snowball from here and try to get things going. Activate Rev, go for Scarred. This is insane. Scarred is just so good. And now we're going to game 2. And my hand box is pretty busted because if Small World opens up our entire hand because it searches you for anything. All this bridges into anything, which is insane. So he starts with Upstart. I'm like, interesting. And he just has 4 passes, and of course I draw the Ant. I draw the Ant for turn, but it's perfectly fine. So I'm debating. So what do I want to do? I feel like if I go for Gofu Knight, that's a bit too fragile, so I have to find a way to get more bodies on field. And the way to do that is through Walker. So then I decide to go to take that route instead. So reveal Knight, get rid of the Knight, get Walker, because I feel like Walker will give me a better line of play because I can discard this, right? So we're going to discard Damali, and he goes into Azarune, which basically you can negate the special summon of a monster. So then right here, I go for Mali, and right here, I'm just trying to bait here. I'm just trying to see what is he going to interact here. But I also have to keep in mind that even if he does negate, I'm able to progress. Otherwise, I'm just cooked, right? And so the way I was thinking about it was, okay, so I need to threaten this guy. So how do I do that? Because if he has cards in his back row that can protect this guy, he's not going to bite because he knows that he can just protect it during the battle phase and then it'll keep me oppressed. in main phase 2. So all I'm trying to do is just trying to push it. Trying to keep pushing it and see if he bites. If I normal summon, I keep asking him res, he lets it resolve. So I'm trying to get to a point where it's out resourcing him. So it doesn't matter if my special summon attempt gets negated, right? Just perfectly fine for me. And then this is where I try to bait first with Croc, but he sees that I have no cards in hand. So I draw a card here, and then I draw Kurikara. That's not really useful in this matchup. And he activates True Draco Apocalypse. So that's pretty good because that's going to get rid of my Gaia. Not the worst, but I was relying on this to get me to this card and have it in rotation over and over again. He pops it, and then I want to get to a point where I make it inevitable. So little by little, I'm taking away and picking it at his back row. And the better it gets from, but I'm still oppressed by this Azarun. So I go for Changing, hoping that it would banish, it would bite here. Because then, even though I summoned Changing, hoping it hit by the Azarun, but he didn't bite. Does he not know that I can just go banish Mali, trigger its effect to banish it? But then I'm pretty sure he accounted for that, right? He had this card, so this basically negates cards in the field up to the number of continuous trap monsters on the field. So he's gonna negate this guy. Negates my Changing. And then I'm like, okay, I'll force it with this guy. And I'm like, still nothing. Send the Plague. I'm just trying to out-resource him at this point. Mill, increase, go into Scarred. And this is the time where he has to do it. Otherwise, I just nuke his board. And I'm still perfectly fine. But then I still have access to everything. I still have my Rev. I still have my Plague. I'll resource him. So it's a matter of what is that last card. Leveweeder. I go into SD Revive. And then I'm just going to go for an immune satellite here. Draw a card. I draw Twisters. I'm like, oh my god, guys, this is over. But I don't think I can... I'm not sure if I can OTK him. Because I'm still playing around that back row. So I'm playing it extremely safe. Because I think I can just out-resource him. Right? So then now I just get rid of it. But I think I should have just waited. I shouldn't have done this. I should have just waited to end phase, Stardust, and then go pop. And then Stardust starts to pop. I'll just negate it, right? I should have done that instead, but... I'm not sure what I was thinking. I guess I just wasn't. But I should have just waited to end phase. And he just scoops. And he's going to be another game. I'm not sure what he's playing. I have no idea what this deck does. Medius, the pure... I'm just like, let's just see what it... Because now I'm just going back to fundamentals. I don't know where to interact. I don't have any hand traps anyways. But hopefully this deck revolves around building a board until I see Aquero. When I'm like, oh, this is a back row deck? No way. If it's a back row deck... and I build the board, I'm in trouble because I can only deal with one. Horrible. I have engine, I have extension, so I should be okay. So just try to find a way to get through this. And I'm like, hey, what does this do? What does this trap do? It's a pop, basically. So that's what I have to account for, a pop. And what else is he gonna have, right? Goes for the field spell. Once again, I have no... I'm dealing with it. I don't know what his deck does. So I'm just trying to keep track of the interactions. If a card has an interaction or is a form of interaction, I just have to account for that. So I draw into Gaia, which is awesome, which means it pairs so well with Malicious. So right off the bat, I just go Dark Ruler. Well, one of these cards does something, so I just might as well do it now, right? So then now, especially go Gaia, I draw into I add Division, and he's thinking about it. And I go Small World, get rid of the Greffer, go for Walker. And once again, Walker is an insane card because of this, because like it's so good. It gives you access to Leveweeder, it gives you a form of extension, discards either of these. It's just so good. And Small World just giving us the consistency that we need is insane. So we're going to go ahead and try to do the same thing we did versus the True Draco guy. And he goes Super Poly. And I'm like, what the fuck? Super Poly, fair enough. And except he does it for his own monsters. And I'm like, he just made another copy? Is it the same thing? Yes, he just made another copy. So what does this fusion do? You can target one monster on the field. Change the battle position. When your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, if you have 3 or more different monsters types on your field, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So you can use three different types: Spellcaster, Dragon, Warrior. So you can use it. Right, that makes sense. There's a pop. And then I go for Mali. So right here, I'm like making it really obscure for him on how he chooses to interact with me, because he knows that I have vision, right? I special vision. And I'm like asking him anything here, because then I'm like, once I get to SD or Scarred, I feel like I'm in the clear. I go for SD, Revive, so chain 1, chain 2, right? Because this has to chain directly to the monster, which is something that I was able to play around, right? When your opponent activates a card on the field, so I dodged that. Pretty cool. So we have our grind game in rotation, so if I can clear this and I can set up my red zone, that'll be great. Because that means that he's not dead, because he's not a Dark Ruler. So I have to find a way to clear his board and establish something, so I just don't get snowballed out of control. Then I revive. I go into Changing. I'm gonna try to get rid of some of the back row. Trigger the Changing, and he's gonna try to pop it, but I'm just gonna save it. I go for Mantis, getting access to my level leader. Make it a tuner, chain, go into RDA. And this is where the RDA package is just insane. It's just so good. This is where it's amazing. So the ant has another effect. It comes up very rarely, but when it does, it's very crucial to my play. So what this does is when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target one level 5 monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target, but its effects are negated. Also send it to the graveyard during the end phase. But I just needed to synchro climb with it. I need to synchro with it. So that's why the ant's insane. In this particular scenario, Gaia puts everything face down, and he forgets that these guys are unaffected, which was the whole point. Because I needed to make sure that this guy cleared everything. Paired with Gaia, insane. And he's like, oh, I'll just negate the other guys. And I'm like, he's just thinking about like, what? And then he's just starting to trigger effects. And I'm like, oh my god, what is happening here? So I was able to attack. Then to go main phase 2, try to get something going here. And he just scoops. Here's another one. And once again, I'm not sure what he's playing. And once he does Small World and reveals Chimera, I'm like, oh crap. I know that some of his interactions are a bit difficult to get around because they're not board pressed. They can chain it mid-sequence towards the end, so it can be quite a nuisance. But at this point, I know for sure that this guy discards a card from my hand during the end phase, and I'm just hoping he hits one of these. I only need one, so it's fine if he hits that. So he's just sequencing off his turn, and then end phase, he discards one of my cards. Discards a Small World. I'm like, okay, fair enough, that's fine. He, right off the bat, he summons, gets his searches on, and then I'm like, well, I'll do Dark Ruler, so it's no longer treated as the card required for this guy to use its effect. And discard some Mali here. Special Mali, I'm asking if anything here. And I'm trying to bridge, and this is where Vision comes into play, right? So what's happening here is he sees that I have a level 5 or higher, right? So he's going to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. But he already has level 5 or higher here. So I'm not sure if he did it a bit prematurely, trying to prevent me from being able to summon this. But even then, I still have one more Mali left in deck. So I'm not too sure why he would do it here either. He goes Chimera. He's going to be able to pop 2 and draw 1. Revives. Pops 2. But I still have access to my Walker, right? Guard special. So good. And then Vision basically serves as another tuner, basically. I go into SD Revive. I'm trying to insulate my Mantis in case he does have a way to, I don't know, prevent my guy from sending my level leader because I need to send it. So I send Dandy. I make it a tuner so I can get into a draw. Draw a card. I draw Gofu. It's not that really helpful. And he's thinking to himself like, what's happening here? And then he's going to go into, he sends, and I'm like, I have to pass. I go Satellite Pop. And I'm not too sure what's happening here. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me I lost. Because I know that they have a fusion that makes my guy zeros. And it makes it to where he can attack multiple times. And I'm like, what the hell? He makes my zero, can't be destroyed. And I'm like, oh, fair enough. Wow, interesting. So, of course, the end. So then I go ahead and start first. And he draws me. The good thing about this deck is that we don't really care about draw. We can play around. We can play on a draw, which is the cool thing about this. So I'm just trying to set up a way where I can make sure that this virus is live. So then I go for Mantis, make it a tuner, go for a formula. It's just so I can climb, right? Just trying to get plenty of resources and not just solely rely on virus, but at least establish something. Because right here, we can go quick effect, synchro into a 10, destroy all of us attack position monsters and something else maybe, because it'll trigger because I'm making a Starlight Warrior. And if you make a dark synchro with this, then you get that effect where it destroys all of the attack position monsters, right? But he has Santa Claus, and I'm like, fair enough. I can still synchro with formula, but then right off the bat, I just go virus, and he goes chain freaking. Oh my god, what was his hand? What was his hand? What did he reveal? It was Meister. He had Meister and Zell, and he Meisters my float. I'm like, oh my god, did I just get too owed? So I'm on top deck mode right now. He goes for Emerald. Shuffles 3 from graveyard, draws 1 card. And I'm like, I'm getting snowballed to hell here. Puts back Santa Claus, the Meister, draws a card. Set. Oh my god. Draw. He had to discard this because of the virus. I draw into Phoenix Golem. And I'm like, oh, I can possibly hold him off. So I have another turn. And I top deck Knight. And I'm like, this is perfect. And he draws me. That's perfectly fine. Because Gaia can search from grave or deck, which is insane. So I had to go battle phase. This is why we play the RDA cards, because once you establish your RDA cards, and It's just insane. It's just so good because now anything that gets destroyed will trigger this guy, and then you have your RDAs that pair well with your traps, which give them an additional effect if you control RDA, which is insane. So I attack, I go for, and he just scoops. Dude, the RDA cards are just so insane. They're just so insane. So game 3, he starts and he bricks, and I'm like, my hand's insane. I go Mally, effective Mally, summon. Special. Poly again. I get super poly again. And he crows my freaking Mally. I was like, what in the world? So he could have just done that right off the bat, right? But I'm not too sure why he didn't. But I don't know. Maybe he had a thought process in mind because he super polyed my board away and he crowed my Mally. But I have enough extension because a lot of you were questioning, what do you do if you get crowed on you? Because this is a Graverline deck, right? So what do you do? And this is what you do. Of course, the combos I showed you do lose to like crow and stuff like that, but remember, when you're playing into a board, you're going to be utilizing your entire hand, so it's not the same. I'm only showing you or just showcasing what you can do with just a minimal amount, just based off consistency, right? So then now I go for Mantis, send Level Eater, and he scoops. And this is where I get to go first because these past few games I've been going second. All right, so this hand's weird. It honestly is kind of weird because I don't have a Discord outlet. And I don't it's unfortunate. I have Small World, I have Greffers, I have the Walkers. How can I not see any of those? So I'm forced to just do this, which is kind of annoying and unfortunate. But and then he plays this, I'm like, oh, it's just Tier. I'm not too sure how good Tier is in this format. Because remember, I'm still getting used to everything, right? And he's just climbing. Is this gonna be Rocalos and a Crystalling? I'm like, fair enough. And I'm like, am I gonna get blown out here? Goes for Tier Cast, mills. He's just milling and milling. And I'm like, oh, he's playing Lightsworn as well? Fair enough. I have a Golem, just that's it. So if I can survive, I gotta make sure I can pull through because I need to, for sure, I need to top deck something though, because my hand's pretty buns. He goes for Sharon, activate Sharon, discard, summon, triggering Phillies to revive. This will summon the Lightsworn monster because it was into the graveyard. And then we go, revives that, mills 2 more, hits a wolf, but doesn't matter. So right here, I had to contemplate whether I want to get rid of the Rocalos or I want to get rid of this. But then I was like, wait a second. It doesn't really matter, right? Because I have Dark Ruler. So if I let him keep the Redoer, he can possibly do a sequence where he can play around Dark Ruler where he flips a trap, not use it, but just to open up a window to use the Redoer and then have him use the effect of Shiren once Dark Ruler is resolved, right? So I was like, well, my main objective is to make sure that doesn't happen because the Dark Ruler takes care of everything else because I get to live, right? So 23, 24, and I banish, and I'm alive. And where was this? Turn 1, man. Where was this? So now I'm like, hey, here we go. He draws a card. I go Dark Ruler, and I try to pop off here. Discard, send Mally, so I can top deck for Mally. If he had a Crow there, I would have been cooked. Well, not really, because I have Gaia anyways, and that could have served as the same purpose. So it's perfectly fine. And then I'm just climbing here. Dandy. This is going to be something you will almost always do. This into Dandy into Formula. It's so good. Level 8. Make the Level Eater a tuner because I'm trying to climb more. I get to keep the token. So climb into Marcher. And then from here on out, I'm just trying to get to a point where RDA clears his board. Because he gets to live. Remember that. That's the only issue. So you have to be able to establish something else on top of clearing their board, because otherwise you can clear the board, but if you can't set up any interaction, you're just gonna get cooked. I go Changing, banish it, effect, add, special, because it was reduced. No, I remember. I don't use a nuke because that would trigger his monsters. You remember now? I just attack over everything. Then Malik gets destroyed. He goes for tuning. That's fine. I'm not gonna negate that. Why would I negate that? And he goes, I'm stopping that. No way, I'm not stopping that. And then we go to game 2. He goes charge, starts popping off. My hand, of course, the ant is in my hand again. What even is this? He goes tuning, goes for rev. He's just trying to dig here. Trigger, revive, Shiren effect, summon, mills 3, Felis, revive, redoer effect to fusion. What does he make again? What did he make? Oh yeah, he makes Rocalos. And I'm like, so what does he have here? He has Rocalos 2 sets and maybe hand traps. Nothing engraved. But my hand's pretty good because, well, it's not necessarily... Oh, actually, it's okay. Because I have access to Synchros with Dandy and access to my Level Eater. But I think I have to make sure that I can flip this face down because it can negate my Walker. Yeah. Oh my goodness. If I chose Sphere Mode, that would have been perfect. If the Sphere Mode traded with Ant, that would have been insane. So then I go book, and he activates Crime. I'm like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? So now I have to try to find a way to get around the Rokalos, because otherwise I'm just cooked, right? He just negates the Walker. What am I supposed to do there? So then I go ahead, trigger Vision, get Special, normal summon, chain 1, chain 2, and he has Solid. And I'm like, oh, disgusting. He sends off Rokalos effect, summon back. I go for Gaia, add Gaia, and then I go Special Gaia, and now I'm gonna I'm just trying to survive here. And I'm like, well, I'll just clear the Rokalos, and this guy can dodge the Solic, so I should be okay. So then I pass, he goes Redoer, he goes for Grief Summons, and then sends a monster, triggers Shiren, and then goes for a Fusion. And I'm like, what's he gonna make now? He's gonna make Kaleidoheart, go effect. I was meant to pay here. I forget to pay here, but I'm supposed to pay 1,500. And then he goes Crystal Wing, Mill, Wolf, hits Wolf. I'm like, oh my god, what even is this? And it should be game here. It's just that I forgot to reduce, so I thought I was live. But yeah, I don't think it matters. I think it's just over. He just has way too much. I was supposed to get killed there. So game 3, my hand is pretty damn good. This is what I was talking about when I was comparing the 2 decks. The Arriving Light build and this one. Because this was way more consistent because you don't have as many bricks. And you have, it's more resilient because there's so many ways to play. I think maybe it would have been wise to insulate this guy because Lev Weeder is just so huge, right? It's just so good. So maybe go for an SD line. I think maybe would have been better. And right there, I was like, please don't have Crow. And he just keeps telling me to keep going. Fair enough. I go to Mill, go for Formula. And I drove Virus. I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Hopefully it's good. Because that's why I put it in here. Because usually the Dark Ruler uses Sphere Mode. You want Sphere doesn't stop Sphere Mode, but they have stuff like that. And one of my biggest fears is Dark Ruler, right? Because that's on my whole board. My whole deck is just build a board. If it's Dark Ruler, I'm just cooked. So this gives me access to another trap, and then I set and pass. And I'm like, I ask him Prio Res, and he says that's fine. And I go Virus, and I look at his hand. I'm like, okay, it should be fine. I think it should be okay. This should be okay. And he just goes. That's the gameplay for the deck that I just showed you guys. If you haven't checked out the deck profile, go ahead and check it out. But that's the gameplay. I'm gonna keep grinding with it and give you more insight on how the deck functions. It's pretty cool though. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.